Hi, and welcome to Roof for Profits. Today we are going to be reviewing our gross profits estimates, versus actuals. So this is where we're going to take how we price out our estimates, what we gave our client, what we got paid, and then what we actually ended up making on our project. And this is for individual projects. You can use this to do general projects, like say, you want to discover what approximately X amount of square footage roof re-roof will cost you. So here's where we're going to start. As always, we're going to take and go to our file and make a copy. Always make a copy. This one I am going to name for a specific project. This is going to be 123 Summers Drive. And I'm going to click make a copy. Now we have our copy and we have our original. Do not do anything with the original. Always make a copy. So here's our copy. The next thing I want to note is, as always, again, do not change anything unless it is highlighted in green. If you change something outside of the green, you may change formulas throughout the entire page. So let's try to stick to just the green formulas. If you do accidentally change something, just go back and hit Control X to delete what you did. Okay, so here we are. We're going to just kind of go through this quickly. We have our client information, our labor multipliers, our material multipliers, our labor burden, and our daily overhead are all right here. We start with our sale price, so how much we're going to sell this project for. I currently have it at $8,800. We can push that to $9,800. And our estimated man hours, the reason that's in white is it's going to come from over here, okay? So, and then this kind of goes through all of the other estimations that we're making. Our estimated materials, again, that's going to come from a lower portion here. And we'll go through all of those spots. And we talk about our labor multiplier. So this would be, for instance, if you think you're only going to need 4 guys, but the job is taking longer because you had a couple of rainy days and you really need to kick it out, so you have 5 guys come on. So you're going to just sort of predict as best you can. This is definitely an estimate. So for today, we'll put this at 10%. We may need 10% more labor than we actually costed out. Our labor burden, you're going to get this number from an entirely different sheet. You can guesstimate this, but I highly recommend not doing that because it can throw off your numbers very wide range. So at another time, we can also go over, I have it right here, our labor burden cost, and this is coming down to your FICA, SUTA, and FUTA taxes that you need to pay, your payroll taxes, as well as your general liability and workers' comp insurance. So going back, we can actually use this labor burden currently on this sheet as 32. So we can put this in here as 32% labor burden. Our material multiplier, these are for instances where you think you have all of the material accounted for, but you know that you may have some boards in there that need to be replaced, hoping not to. You're really trying to do your clients a favor by not just selling and selling and selling, but trying to keep them to a minimum. So we're going to put the material multiplier at, let's say, 15% today. Your daily overhead, you are also going to get this from a different sheet. And I have it right here under our business overhead. It's your selling, general, and administrative expenses, basically the cost to keep your doors open. So we do have that here in this sheet. We have it down as 1,467. We can go ahead and use that number. And so that is our daily overhead. We are including that. You do not have to include your daily overhead here. That is up to you. I find it easiest to do it this way so that I make sure that I cost each and every single job and estimate each and every single job as best that I can so that I know that I'm going to be making money off of this job. Okay, so moving on. If you have a project management lead fee, you can put that in here as well. Some businesses do, some businesses don't. For today, we're going to put 0 in there as that we are saying we do not have a crew leader management fee. All right, we're going to move down to our actual labor and labor hours. So we've got Jimbo, Tony, and Sal. We're estimating that they're each going to work 10, 8, and 7 respectively. And then we have the amount that we pay them. Now we're kind of back to this burden area. If you change this burden up here, I'm just going to jump a huge number so that you can see the difference. Right now we've got 8, 480, and 480. Let's say we made this 80%. See how much those numbers change. So this, again, you don't really want to guess at your labor burden. So put it back at 32%. We keep going down. This is in case we have any overtime hours. We would include Jim here again, and maybe Tony worked some overtime. This is sort of that just in case scenario. So we have our total estimated labor cost at 25 hours. We come back up. That is also shown right here. All right, we're going to move down to our materials. So all of our materials, we have costed out at being $2,534. We have a dump fee of $300. We do not plan on renting any materials or tools for this project. We are not paying any contractors out. This is our own crew. Okay, so our overhead that we talk about is this right here in white. You are not going to change this number. It comes from where you have already input the number up here in your daily overhead. The one thing that you can change, though, is how many days you are spending on that job. So for this particular circumstance, we've got 10, 8, and 7 hours. Jim working the most at 10 hours. I don't know, maybe Jim could do this in one day. That's a lot of hours for one day. So I'm going to put 2 days. We're going to keep 2 days in here for the number of days it's going to take us to complete this job. So we're paying for overhead for 2 days. And then we have gas. In the gas situation, it really depends on how you want to run your numbers. Some companies want to do gas per job. In this case, we are doing gas per job. I have put $150 in gas that we will be spending on this one particular job. The other circumstance that this would be different in is if you are including in your overhead, okay, in your overhead, if you are including, I'm going to jump over here real quick, a vehicle's fringe benefit where you're actually paying the gas on the company card and we're doing it at a monthly gas cost. Otherwise, do put it in for the gas for that project, what you're predicting you're going to spend in gas. So we have our total estimated materials and other costs at $7,385. So we're going to go back up here. And once we include our labor multiplier, labor burden, material multiplier, now we have the actual to and from what we think this job is going to cost us. It's probably going to cost us anywhere between $8,000 and $9,000. So I'm going to go back over to the sales price and say I did not estimate this job enough to make more than 20%. And you can see right here, I've got a gross profit of 18.24%. So for me, I want to make at least 20% on this job. So let's jump this up a little bit. That's a little too high. That's closer. So we're going to sell this project at $10,000. We're making about 20% off of it in our estimated version. Okay. Once you have your estimated side done, you're going to jump over here to your actuals. And this is where things are going to change up a bit. You're not going to want to change anything up here, okay? Just leave that alone for the moment. We're going to come over here and we're going to say that Jimbo ended up, this job took us less time. Jimbo ended up only working 7 hours, Tony 6, and Sal 6 as well. We had no overtime. Our materials did change a little bit. Our blanket statement materials, our shingles, nails, those things did not change. We did have a lower dump fee, and we did end up having to rent some nail guns. A couple of our nail guns got stolen, I don't know. And so we had to rent a couple of nail guns. So here we are, $500. Let's bring that down to $300. Again, we didn't have any contractors to pay. We're including our overhead, but this now should say, we're going to call this 2.5 because it wasn't quite 3 days worth. And we're including our gas. Our gas was actually only $120 instead of $150. So then we have our totals down here. We're going to go back up And we've included our labor burden in this total amount. So you can see the difference here, 6,821. And up here, our labor burden is included at 7,290. So on this job that we sold for 10,000, we actually ended up making a 27% profit, okay? Which turned out a lot better for us than our original 20% profit. Okay, so that is how your estimates and actuals worksheet works. This is the way that you can really start tracking how much money you're spending and how much money is coming in. And if you have any questions on this, please feel free to email us at roofforprofits@gmail.com. Or if you have some interest in the other sheets that we use today with our business overhead or labor burden, just let us know and we can get you lined up to get on those sheets. Thanks so much and have a great day.